A world map, but it's only borders. This entire chart is really just here to show you which countries touch other countries. And immediately, it's hard not to look at anything else. The giant Russian spider ball up here that's touching at least like 17 other countries. I think Russia borders the most at like 17 countries. It also looks like they're just kind of controlling the world up here, like all the other balls are their puppet. I really appreciate that they broke down the British Isles to England, Scotland, and Wales. Now, wait a second. Shouldn't Great Britain, or England, whatever you want to call it, be touching Spain though? See, this thing gets really complicated when you think about like all the weird parts of geography, like how many islands are split in half, and like, well, France technically touches Brazil because they have that part in South America. But I will admit, this would be a really ugly map if they decided to put all of the borders ever. I forget how much Saudi Arabia is grabbing over here. They're like a little germ or something, a virus. If you draw a straight line from the southernmost point of the US to the northernmost point, and then a separate line from the westernmost point to the easternmost point, the two lines would not connect. You wouldn't think about this, since a lot of people forget that we live on a globe. I forget we live on a globe. I really need to start being more careful with what I say though. This is exactly why Flat Earth Society follows me on Twitter. If you think about it, my entire channel is almost like flat earth propaganda, since like 95% of the maps we're looking at are flat. Based off our data and current predictions, this is what Africa is gonna look like in 10 million years. So this is news to me. There is apparently a whole separate continental plate connected to this continent, and that's gonna break off and probably like smash into where the subcontinent of India smashed into. That actually kind of looks like India if you turn your head a little bit. You could already tell the animals that get stuck on this side are about to get weird. Didn't realize that this map shows a lot more than just the continent of Africa. We're also going to lose the Strait of Gibraltar, and the Mediterranean is just going to be like a massive lake. And then to follow that, we also have islands getting a little bit bigger. For some reason, we're going to lose the boot too. Not the boot, Sicily. Who is Italy going to kick now? Also, the Persian Gulf is gone, which I would think that that would affect like this desert. Would that change anything? Like, would Arabia be a little bit more habitable? So this is a map showing all areas reachable by rail or foot within 2 hours from Birmingham New Street Station. So someone has figured out on these outer edges that you can go about 130 miles and still make it within here in 2 hours. Obviously, not exclusively by foot. You can't walk there in 2 hours. You walk to the rail, and then the rail takes you in 2 hours. But is that part of the time? I'm thinking that's like calculated in the time. Oh yeah, because these smaller dots, you probably don't have much. You have to live right next to the station in order to get there in 2 hours. If you have to do like a 20-minute walk beforehand, you're not gonna make it in 2 hours. There's literally a city called Fly in the UK. Haven't heard about this. I feel like this post was put up here just to flex on Americans. Our public transit is pretty garbage. Another one of these, except this time, if you connect the northernmost point of Czechia with the southernmost point, and then the westernmost point with the easternmost point, the lines intersect almost perfectly at Prague, the capital city. Is this why a lot of countries actually moved their initial capital city so it could be like more centrally located in the nation? Now I understand why Slovakia got pushed away. It all makes sense. Does this take into account the fact that the Earth is round though? Like, would it change at all if we did this same concept on a globe? Again, flat earth. A map of Africa if it was divided by languages and ethnicity. And to be honest, I don't even know if this is enough. I mean, Africa can be divided in so many different ways just using one of those categories. But it really seems like this point over here, kind of near Nigeria and the Ivory Coast, gets kind of nuts. Also gets a little crazy in the Congo. I'm actually just surprised that they were able to find people living in the Sahara Desert. Like, that's kind of amazing. These people are built different. Finally, I am so tired of this historic city being left off geographical maps. We never talk about it enough. The population of Kanto in Pokemon Red and Blue. There's approximately 697 people living in this Pokemon city, so this person must have went to every single household and went to every single trainer out there in the grass, logged it, figured out their age, their name, they were male or female. Human beings are terrifying. So this city clearly is going to be having some population problems very soon because they aren't having enough children. Clearly Japan must have taken some inspiration from their own country when they made this game. Also, a lot of males. Nothing but males. Don't seem that fun. 26% are female, and a majority of the city doesn't want to have anything to do with Pokemon, or at least they're not trainers. I'm pretty sure like in a real life Pokemon city, it'd be lame to be a Pokemon trainer. Like those are kids that probably get beat up in in school. They get beat up by all the people that are about to major in business of Pokemon. Most of them are in the city, but some of them are out in the cave. Some of them are in boats. Some of them are in a large building. This dude had to calculate all of these different cities and towns and islands. Oh my god, I forgot about how big it was. Now, I'd love the person that did all that research to go back and ask all the citizens this. What percentage of people agree that their culture is not perfect, but it's still superior to others? We do have the data on Europe, and wow, I don't know how accurate this is, but Greece looks down upon everyone, apparently. Greece is disgusted with us. I mean, I guess they deserve it. They were taking a lot of dubs in the very beginning there. Next up on the list is Russian, and then just like a lot of Slavic nations. Look at that. Then there's Portugal, who's way more proud than Spain, and this country happens to be the least proud in all of Europe. 20%? Yo, that makes me kind of sad. I imagine Spain is like that guy on Snapchat that just doesn't stop talking about how annoying he is and how he'll never have a girlfriend. Spain, but the S is silent. It's for reals now. Percentage that is able to hold a conversation in Hungarian. Obviously, 99% of Hungarians can hold a conversation in Hungarian. But out of all the neighboring countries, it's actually Slovakia that can somewhat keep up, then Romania, Serbia. But I think what this is really most shocking is just the fact that like Hungary can't even really leave their country. If you only know Hungarian, if your neighbors can't even speak to you, then it's gonna be real bad if you go any further out. This makes me sad. I mean, Hungary's not even that big of a country too. What about Poland? I know Poland is homies with them. Here's some interesting words that I didn't know could work in combination with each other. Imperial density. These are lands of the world that have been under control of an empire that was at least 500,000 kilometers wide. And this data shows that Persia and China are the imperial heartlands, or in other words, they've taken the most L's. I can think of so many different empires that controlled this part of the world, so I can see that. Look at this part of Asia, though. They've been relatively on their own. It was just the British that got down over here, right? As for the Western Hemisphere, we don't see as much darkness over there, but, you know, Spain and Portugal definitely left their mark. I really don't like looking at this because it makes me want to oof myself off a building, but the price of Dogecoin since 2020. In early 2020, I invested like 80 bucks into Dogecoin, and then I was like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? I think it was at 7 cents then, and now it's at like 50 cents. So, I mean, I don't know how much money I would have gotten, but I would have looked cool, that's for sure. And this chart isn't even up to date. It's gotten even higher than that. This is so past my time, but the percentage of songs by genre on Headbangers Ball, this was on MTV between 1987 and 1995. Whatever this show was, it started off as mostly hair metal and just metal in general. Makes sense. It's 87. What else really is there? But what's real interesting to see is even going into 1990 and 1991, hair metal was still pretty big. Of course, it was going to be destroyed in the coming decades, and you really start to see that in 92. I'm actually surprised that grunge isn't much higher on this list, but I don't know if you can really headbang to grunge. That's probably the problem. Then there's new metal coming up. Oh yeah, I love me some Korn. And then alt metal. I don't even know what that's considered. Hair metal and just regular metal was almost gone by 95. Death metal. Is that Slayer? Deserts of North America, and it's basically just going to be the west coast of the US and Mexico. But I am real surprised to learn that Canada technically has a desert up here. I guess we're just letting anything be deserts at this point. I'm trying to gatekeep deserts from Canada. All of Baja California is a desert, so maybe that's why California hasn't pressed their claim to grab Baja. We got deserts not too far away from my house. Nevada's one giant desert. Didn't really realize that Wyoming is considered a desert. I guess it's important to remember that desert is like a wide term. Antarctica is the biggest desert. Kind of forgot about that. I mean, a desert is really just any barren area of landscape where little precipitation occurs. And technically that is Antarctica, so I understand that now. Symbols of aviation. I think I've already done a video like this before, but the main reason I wanted to bring this up again was I kind of didn't realize that Germany was still sporting the old Iron Cross again. They weren't going to update that? I realize that technically there's nothing wrong with it, but a lot of people get confused nowadays. I give them like 2 more years and then they're going to have to change it. I like to see the outliers, like most people have a circle, like a Captain America shield. Why not just put a square here or a rectangle? There you go, Poland. There you go, Bosnia. Even better, Iceland. I don't even know what that is. Estonia has a triangle for some reason. And I like how Spain just does a bullseye. Probably not the greatest thing to put a bullseye on your plane, but you know, do you. I don't want to bag on Spain more. They're already pretty self-conscious over there. Comparison between Bigfoot sightings and where the American black bear roam. I feel like this is a personal attack. Bigfoot's real, bro. Whoever believes this better watch their back. I just realized I said that in a video where I already showed Flat Earth Society's a fan of me. Again, I'm just digging myself into a deeper hole. I'm probably gonna talk about aliens here soon enough. Fun fact, black bears have often been recorded standing and walking on their hind legs, as well as like grizzly bears too, right? All bears be doing this sometimes. So this is like much more of a Pacific culture, I guess. Like this is just something we do over here in the Pacific states and like the western parts of Canada. There are some believers out there in the central part, but it seems like there's a lot more sightings this way, especially in Washington. Wow, do they worship Bigfoot there or what? It's like those big trees and the weather, it just does something to your psyche. Who has seen Bigfoot in Mexico? I don't think so. That's gotta be the chupacabra. Light pollution in Europe, and this shouldn't be super surprising, although what is going on in the lowlands? Belgium and the Netherlands don't have the most population, and I don't think they're that densely populated, but I know that light pollution does line up pretty good with like population density in general. Nobody lives up here in like the Nordic areas, so they're just not gonna have that much light. Same with Russia. Italy's got a lot of lights too though. I'm just thinking like, why would some of these countries need more lights than others? Do they have more lights for all the like bike roads they got? Same with Egypt. There's like a super massive black hole explosion happening down here. I don't think black holes explode. I meant star. Doesn't matter. I've seen a lot of these dividing countries images, but none about Kazakhstan, and I don't know much about Kazakhstan. Technically, this is true, right? Like, there is a part of Kazakhstan that is under the European continent. Then we have cold as hell, hot as hell, burning. Didn't think the temperatures varied that much. Then we have secular, which I'm assuming that has to do with the Soviet Union, but there is a little bit still left. It's not that. Northernmost spots speak mostly Russian, although that same spot is where a lot of people don't actually live. Impatient people, quiet people, laid back people. Developed and underdeveloped, there's just 2 dots here. Yeah, reading this, I can see why Borat left and went to America. I just couldn't make it through this without bringing him up. I'm sorry. Map of Roman Britain, but the year is 369 AD, so it looks like they had divided it up between like 5 different sectors. Please tell me you guys like keep these names a little bit, right? You gotta have like a town. I mean, I see some familiar names, but you gotta have like a town in these places just to keep with the tradition. Seem kind of cool. Was this like Caesar's vacation getaway? Why is it like this? Doesn't seem like that great of a vacation getaway. The shortest city name in every state, and I'm really disappointed that there isn't anything that's only 2 letters. Come on. I'm pretty sure there was a city named F in Maine. Does anyone remember that? Was that not actually a thing? Did they change it since then? It's called F Maine. I'm not joking. Imagine living in the city van. Seems creepy. I like Eek though. That's good, Alaska. Step up your game, Delaware. 5 letters? Wait, no, that doesn't matter. Rhode Island. Are you even trying? Rhode Island got to get on the board. Just name this city War. That's badass. Here's a map showing actual European discoveries. Land unknown by humans before the age of exploration. And it's almost entirely islands, which it's incredible still that we were able to find these random tiny islands just out here in the middle of nowhere like centuries ago. What were they doing exactly? It's hard to believe that we even discovered all the islands out there. How do we know that there isn't like still some hidden away in the Pacific? Well, we have satellites now, but you know. Crazy to think how big some of these islands were too, and they just were completely uninhabited. Like Bermuda. That's pretty big. I don't know why anyone would discover Bermuda, but actually, no, the Polynesians probably would have. Looking at Oceania, though, the Polynesians did miss a few spots, surprisingly. What if there was any Polynesians that discovered Antarctica? How do we know they didn't do that? Probably went over there, just be like, hell no, get out of here. Or maybe that's the thing, they did discover it, but then they immediately got oofed because it's Antarctica. Look at Austria-Hungary on the board with some islands discovered. Everyone else, that's pretty normal. I mean, Russia, a little surprising, but Austria-Hungary and Norway? Well, Norway got the biggest dub by discovering America, but then we didn't give them credit for that, so. But whatever they discovered in Austria-Hungary, it's 16,000. What's even crazier about some of these out here on the edges is who cares about the island when you get to see the giant ice wall that locks away the flat earth. And big thanks to the patrons of May. Drew's Argentinian Grandpa. I'm About a Nut. LuxembourgLover. Poppy Drew Woo. I Love Drew Durnil. AryanAfterHours. Stormtrooper 501. Zeffi. Patrick C. Manny 74. Kaylee K. M203 BrushEm. Ian L. FusionWolf. Anthony G. Nick. EpiNick. Elijah Senpai. Dalton D. Call of Tortoise. Anikyte. Aaron F. And Aaron F. 2.